Hello, friends, and welcome back to the new episode of I Don't Work Here, Lady. Today's a new day, and we have one more set of great stories waiting for us. So let's start the stories from the airport by a person with a great writing style. I wonder where he was planning to fly before he decided I was an airport employee. Last year, I was with my then new girlfriend in the bar at a British airport waiting for a flight to the U.S. We had some time to kill because our flight was one of many delayed by the weather. The bar was busy with lots of people in the same situation. After a long queue to get served, we luckily found a small table away from the crowd and sat down. On my way, I noticed a beer-bellied man and angry-faced wife further back in the queue, complaining very loudly. He had the red nose of a heavy drinker, so I'll call him Rudolph. I was wearing a dark blue jacket and a pale blue shirt with black chinos, very casual, and nothing like the staff who were wearing black polo shirts with bright yellow piping and logos, gold name tags, and black trousers. After I'd been sitting with my girlfriend for a minute, we discovered that one of us was a clumsy twat. That clumsy twat knocked his drink over with his elbow. I did my best to mop it up with the napkins on the table, but they were slightly less absorbent than marble, so I was just steering beer all around the table. Like the good-hearted and responsible citizen that I am, I suggested to my girlfriend, "I don't think anyone saw. Let's F off sharpish." But no, Mrs. Goody Two-Shoes said go to the bar and ask for a rag. I quickly asserted my manly dominance over her by going to the bar and asking for a rag. As I was wiping up my lager, Rudolph approached me. He looked about my age, 30s, also sounded about 5 pints ahead of me in the drinks race. He tapped my arm heavily. He asked, "Why is it taking so long to get served?" I answered, "Well, it's busier than usual, probably the extra customers because of the flight delays." For some reason, my attempt to explain made him angry. Then he barked at me, "All the more reason that it should be all hands to the pumps behind the bar." I must have looked surprised by his anger. I said, "I suppose you're right." "Well," he said loudly enough to have heads turning. "Well, what?" I responded. This answer absolutely lit him up. I'm not sure of his exact words because he was trying to talk much faster than his mouth could manage. The point he was apparently trying to make through the shouting and spitting was that I should be behind the effing bar serving drinks instead of tossing about tidying the effing tables. That's when it clicked with me. He thought I was an employee. I said, "I don't work behind the bar. I'm just..." That sentence would have finished, "I'm a customer just like you." But he cut me off. I was still wiping up my mess with the large cloth in my right hand. He grabbed my right wrist and continued his tirade. I told him very clearly to let go of me. My girlfriend saw what was happening and quickly stood up. She put her hands around my left arm and asked me to stay calm. She told Rudolph, "He doesn't work here." Rudolph didn't hear or didn't understand because his response to her was, "Mind your own effing business." I was a little peeved by that. I saw Mrs. Rudolph trundling over towards us, pushing the crowd aside. She looked like a member of a rugby team's drag act, and I assumed she was coming over to tag team me. I used both hands to lock his left wrist, pulled him towards me as he instinctively pulled back. I changed from pulling to pushing and helped him to fall backwards into the furniture. He went over with the grace of a newborn elephant. His wife tried to help him get up, but that project failed and she fell onto him. While the two of them wriggled on each other, my girlfriend said very clearly, "Do not hit him." We started to walk out with my girlfriend in front of me. After a few more seconds of floor comedy, Rudolph got up and followed us. I turned to face him and he took a swing at me, a slow, wide, drunken, telegraphed right hook. I think a sedated stroke patient could have avoided it. I leaned back out of the way and his fist went past me and carried on. His momentum meant he continued with the punch until the rotation took him too far and he fell over his own feet again. As he stood up from the beer puddle he landed in, I just laughed at the 2 tones of blue his shirt had become because of the huge wet patches. As you can imagine, this improved his mood enormously. He charged for me. I slid left, and with a little push on his right side, he missed me again. This time he stayed on his feet. When he turned, he would have gone for me another time, but he noticed the police that had arrived at the bar. Mrs. Rudolph called to the police and pointed at me and claimed I had assaulted her and her husband. I was expecting some support from the crowd. I wasn't expecting a round of applause, but maybe someone saying, "No, he didn't hit them." Instead, all I could see were couples gossiping and people trying to improve the position of their phones for filming, and the queue reforming. The police, as you'd expect, separated us, and one listened to Rudolph while a second listened to me. The one who was interviewing me and my girlfriend was interrupted by a third officer. They stepped away, and it became clear that cop number 3 had seen the CCTV. Cop number 3 went to Rudolph's interviewer and did the same. Cop number 2 explained they'd seen the video and they'd satisfied themselves that I wasn't to blame. He asked me to go with them to make a statement. After discussing how long it would take, I decided I'd rather not risk missing the flight, so I'd do it after we returned. I took the officer's card. At that time, Rudolph and his wife started yelling. My guess would be that the police had given him the bad news about the video evidence. He wouldn't calm down, so they cuffed him and led him away. Cop number 2 told me Rudolph was arrested, he'd be taken to the police station at the airport, and possibly the main station if he needed to be detained. Either way, his bags would be removed from the flight he was booked on because he wouldn't be allowed to fly today. When I returned to Britain, I phoned the officer as promised. Rudolph had been transferred to the main police station because he couldn't be interviewed until he was sober. After a night in a cell, he'd become very cooperative. He had one conviction for assault 11 years earlier, so the police decided to deal with this offense by giving Rudolph a formal caution. It doesn't carry any punishment, but it will be taken into account if he offends again. Going back to the day of the incident, after all the excitement was over, my girlfriend and I settled into our flight. She said she was very pleased with me for staying calm and not being more violent. She hinted that there might be a special reward. I mentioned that I'd never joined the Mile High Club, and if she felt like rewarding my good behavior, we could try to create some privacy. I'll always remember her reply. You can F right off. I adore your writing style. And our second story. Just ring up my screws. I promise I don't work here. Really. I ran to the local home improvement store last night for some screws and ended up browsing for a bit. Somewhere between looking at Dremel bits and contemplating a new soldering iron, I hear a man roar rather loudly. Roar. What do you mean you don't have any? This is like basic stuff. You gotta. I couldn't hear the employee's response, but it was rather short, and he walked briskly away to resume stocking circular saw blades. My next thing to check out was drill bits, situated right behind Mr. Roar. Excuse me, sir, but... Roar, still shouting, Thank God, finally! Ralph, you said he was a really fat guy that looked like Santa Claus. This is a skinny guy in a baseball hat. Me, smiling. I don't work here. Roar. Well, F. He starts laughing and then gets a lot quieter. Sorry, man. I'm just giving my cousin a hard time. Am I in your way? Me. Yeah, I just wanted to peek at the rack behind you. I can't believe they don't have any easy outs. I'm trying to get a broken bolt out of my lawnmower and... They're on the bottom right there. What? I scoot Mr. Roar away from the rack and grab a set of screw extractors for him. Man, I know Ralph doesn't normally work this department, but he told me they didn't have any. Doesn't matter, though, these are too small. There are bigger ones over by the sockets. Huh? Why aren't they all in one place? Well, these are for home improvement, and the ones over there are counted as mechanics tools. Come on, I'll show you. So I lead Mr. Roar over to sockets and point to what he needs, and begin to walk away to check out. Roar, loudly. Ralph! Ralph! He found them! I continued my beeline for the cashier. It failed. Just as she started her spiel on how to use the credit card terminal, Mr. Roar clapped me on the shoulder as he passed by to leave empty-handed. Thanks again. It's good to know that at least store management knows what they're doing. The credit card terminal went blank. Cashier. Sorry, sir, I didn't recognize you. Me. I don't work here. Cashier. You don't have to work at this location. The discount's for all company employees. I don't work for your company. Are you sure? Yeah. Because company policy says, just ring up my screws. I promise I don't work here, really. And our third story. Oh, you're the owner's sister? Wow, my long-lost sister. Can you believe it, guys? So about 3 or 4 years ago, I started a business, and we're still expanding. We have a pretty jolly good amount of people working for us. Our office is right next to the front desk, and our open hours are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. this will be important later. So one day about a year ago, I was working late on my computer and the doors were left unlocked because I was just finishing up some tasks and had to head to my mom's house immediately after that. Guess who comes waltzing in? Yep, that's correct. The Karen. Now, since it's past closing time, almost 9:45, the front desk is not there. Karen immediately starts yelling drastically for the front desk, "Front desk, I need a pass!" I get up to go and confront her. Hey, ma'am, we're closed and... No, you're not! Do you even work here? Yes, ma'am, I'm actually the owner. You're lying! If you were the owner, you would know what the hours of this store were. Karen then pulls a face like she just saw a ghost. Did you break in here? I'm calling the police. Karen takes out her phone and starts jamming 911 into the keypad. Halfway through, she stops, anticipating an "I give up" response from me. I tell her, "No, I'm the actual owner. You see, No, you're lying, because I'm the sister of the owner of this place. I can easily call her." I shrug and give her a business card, and she furiously dials in the number. I'll never know if she actually called the police. They never came, so I'm assuming she didn't. When she dialed the number on the business card, the phone rings, and Karen just gives me this smug look like, "Ha, now they're going to back me up." Instead, I gleefully watch her face turn white as my phone rings. I pick it up and say, "Hello, how can I help you on this fine day?" Karen doesn't do anything for 1 second, completely paralyzed. Then she hangs up and does this fast-walking shuffle thing out the door. Never saw her again, poor lady. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.